You're on, Pat.
I guess I'll call the North Highlands Recreation and Park District meeting to order here tonight. First thing we go through is the approval of the minutes that were dated way back when, March 12th of 2020.
The good old days. I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Do we have any further discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Minutes for the March 12th pass. Chairperson's report. Well, I really don't have anything except I've been enjoying all the videos that have been on the website. Some quite interesting ones. Yes, Diane and Larry, I'm still working. Depends on our governor this week if I retire Monday, when that budget comes out.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't have anything. Any of my fellow board members?
I'd like to echo what Pat said about the videos that the rec staff have been posting on social media. It's so fun. I look forward to them. I was so bummed when you went to 3 days a week. But I hope the public is enjoying them as well.
Thank you. They've had fun making them.
Alan, you're quiet.
I got nothing.
Okay. All right, then we'll move on. Anyone else, or is that? All right, then we'll move on to the administrator's report. Larry.
Well, you notice that it's blank, so you received nothing from me, and the reason I'll explain briefly. Since we were doing I was providing the board with 5-day-a-week updates. Then later we reduced it down to 3-day-a-week. I figured that pretty much anything I put in there, you've already heard once before or twice before, or maybe 10 times before. So I didn't put that in there. The financial statement is pretty straightforward, and we've been talking a lot about financing the last couple months with the board via the updates. So other than that, what I did want to point out that as part of this board meeting, we had two options to allow the public to participate. The first option was allow them to log on to this Zoom meeting and be part of what we see right now, and participate that way. The other option was to allow the public to submit questions to the administrator before 3 o'clock today, and those questions then would be provided to the board chairperson, whether they were items on the agenda or items off the agenda. I want to share with the board that we did not receive any questions today, and so there's nothing from the public to share with the board at this time. And I also, so I don't forget, at the end of the meeting, Diane's, by the way, if you can't tell, Diane's actually in the district office in the conference room, participating on our laptop, and she will sign whatever documents need to be signed at the conclusion of tonight's meeting. However, other staff, which is, I think, according to Terry, and Terry, correct me if I'm wrong, that either Pedro or Zach need to come in, and then the balance of the board needs to come in and sign resolution and board minutes and that sort of thing. And that has to be done by Tuesday of next week, so we can get everything together and deliver it to the county by next Thursday.
What are your hours like tomorrow? I can come in tomorrow.
Pat's a must.
Pardon me?
Pat has to come.
Pat has to come and sign. If Zach, was that you speaking, Zach?
Yeah, I can come in tomorrow.
Okay,
Terry,
perfect.
Okay.
What time?
I'll let you and Terry coordinate the time to make sure she's here.
Okay, perfect.
I can come in. I'm just down the street. I mean, I can go there tonight if you need be. So if you need something signed real quick, just let
So
me know.
Terry, why don't you explain what you need and who you need to have signed so that way we can make sure we don't have any of the board members come down here unnecessarily.
Well, Pat needs to sign all the resolutions,
Okay.
the minutes and the timesheets. And then I just need one of the board members to sign the monthly reports.
I'd come in anytime tomorrow because I'm off. So
Okay.
you
I'll
give
be
me a
in the-
time and I'll be there.
I'll be in the office at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Well, I got to drink coffee first. But,
Well, you can drink coffee first. And if Zach wants to come tomorrow, that's fine too.
Okay.
All right. Just in case, Terry does leave early tomorrow, if we can get everybody to come in at least by 1 o'clock, does that work, Terry?
Yeah, that'll be fine.
Okay.
Do
All right.
you need me to come in, Terry?
I don't need you if I got Zach. Thank you.
Okay. You bet. You bet.
All right. That is the conclusion of my administrator's report.
okay, wow, it's quickest one I've heard so far in many years.
I'm going to take that as a compliment.
Hey, next on the agenda is correspondence. We have none. Obviously, the next, we don't have any comments from citizens or organization. And we have no unfinished business. So we will move on to new business, which is, I gotta get my paperwork together. Resolution 589, which is the approval of the 2021 fiscal year preliminary budget. So it's, we had the Budget and Finance and Audit Committee get together on it. So was there any questions, concerns, or?
No, we went through it, and I think that what staff did was present it. So when we come to final budget, we can make changes as needed. I thought they were pretty conservative in what they did. Just because we're at this kind of meeting, I'd rather have Larry go through the detail if anybody has any questions.
No, I looked through it and I thought it looked pretty good, so.
All right, well,
I just like to say, being in that meeting, just a hats off to Larry and his team for the foresight that we have, especially in these times of uncertainty. I just thought, as Alan already mentioned, man, that just being the conservative that he was and outlining everything that he had to have was just was spot on. So appreciate Larry. It was a good first meeting for me. I learned a lot just sitting back and listening and so I really appreciate that. So the foresight by you and your team is not to go unnoticed. Thanks again.
appreciate it.
All right, so I guess,
Could I, Pat, could I just make a couple comments, brief comments?
yes, please.
I'm not going to go through the document. You have that already. And like any budget, there's a lot of detail in the actual budget. But just a couple of things that have changed since since the agenda was presented or emailed to the board. On page 2, under recreation, I just wanted to point out to the board that we will be fully staffed on a regular 40-hour work week with staff in the office complex and in the field June 22nd. Now, I want to let you know that even when they were working at home, or when they were at home, they were working, but we're returning everyone back to the office. We talked to staff and that was a workable date for everyone. Things are starting to ramp up really quick, especially with, I was on a Zoom meeting with the county today, or excuse me, with the Sacramento County Park and Recreation managers, including Dr. Casera, I think that's her name, who is the head of the health department. and things are going to be rolling out really quickly. So we're trying to stay on top of the best we can as well. So I just wanted to point out that where I said I didn't know where staff would be returning, we are returning. Also, too, as I mentioned briefly before, where we were not sure originally if we were going to be able to offer a summer day camp. Once we got the restrictions or the orders from the county and the state, we sat down and talked about it with Sarah and Rachel, and with the cooperation from Scott and his staff, we're well on our way to offering a summer day camp. Also, just below that, under I think it's a little bit less than halfway down, or more than halfway down on that same page, I just want to remind the board that we do have an issue that the board needs to discuss, and I plan on putting this on the July 9th board agenda, and that is to talk about subsidizing recreation programs. When we met with the finance committee, we talked about that we would need to present all those different programs that the district traditionally subsidizes. And we want to do a couple things. One, either continue doing what we've been doing, stop what we're doing, or provide some sort of modified subsidy where there are just specific programs that will be subsidized and others will not. I think on the third page, I just wanted to point out as well that the fees and charges schedule, I was originally going to bring that to the final board meeting in August, but I think we'll have that ready for you in July. So you'll get that next month. And then also just a couple of things regarding projects. The community center floor replacement is ongoing. Staff have been working this week in there, and they began to replace the flooring, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, Scott, early next week. Also, the HVAC units replacements, those have been completed, and I think I've shared that with you once before. And also the Sierra Creek Park CEQA study will begin after July 1st, but we're I think we've already signed agreements with the county. If not, we will shortly. And lastly, with regards to the budget, we do need to come back in July or August and have the board approve a couple policy changes, and those policy changes have to do with the restricted amounts that we have for certain funds that the district has. We need to adjust those, such as our contingency fund. We're actually, as you can tell, we budgeted far more than we normally do in contingency, just to be on the safe side. But to make that work with the budget, we have to adjust, at least temporarily, our current policy. And I believe the last thing I wanted to point out was that it really pleases me that we're going to go into this next fiscal year while it's a tight budget, and there's no frills, there's no bells and whistles. It's pretty straightforward. But in the event of an emergency, if something were to happen, I feel comfortable that our reserve account is at a point where I think we can certainly, for the short term, kind of weather the storm if something happens. And you've heard me say this before. You know, it's great to have a reserve account, but we don't want to spend it on reoccurring costs that once we spend it, we have no way of replacing those funds. So I feel good that we have a very strong reserve account, and that will help us if we need it. Let's hope we don't need it. But that is the other policy change we have to adjust, as well as our reserve account requires us to have a percentage of the budget set aside in reserves, and we're probably close to at least double that amount right now. So just simply we just need to adjust the current policy so they reflect what we're doing with the budget. And that's all I wanted to add at this point.
Okay. So any other further discussion on resolution 589? Okay, all in favor?
Alan may have been talking there. I saw it, but he's muted.
Oh.
I don't know if he was trying to add anything.
Sorry, I was muted.
Oh,
I said I'll
okay.
make a motion to approve what'd you say, 589?
589.
I thought it was 587.
589.
589.
Well, how come the agenda says 587?
My agenda says 589.
Does it? Am I
Mine says
looking at the-
589.
I know what I'm doing. Hold on. God, I scrolled down to the minutes by mistake from last meeting.
Were you in accounting?
God. I scrolled down to the minutes and I didn't get all the way back up to the minute. Okay, so let's try this again. I'll make a motion to approve resolution 589 for the 2021 prelim budget.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Resolution 589 approval 2020-2021 preliminary budget passed. All right. Now we'll move on to B, resolution 590, approval of the 2020-2021 fiscal year Cherry Blossom North Highlands Recreation Park District Community Facility District Alberta Park preliminary budget.
I didn't know if Larry wanted to add anything.
Yeah, I think it's just to kind of hit a couple of key points. You, as Silverado Homes has been developing Alberta Park, I've commented over the years of how many permits they pulled and how many homes they've constructed. While you may see some empty lots or homes still under construction or homes that are not occupied, all 223 permits have been pulled either by the homeowners or who are the homeowners now, or by Silverado Homes. So we are receiving the full amount from the CFD for those 223 residential units, and the rate went up to $531.12 per residential unit, or approximately $118,400. You'll notice that our expenditure amount, proposed expenditure amount in the preliminary budget is only about $106,000. That's good. So we're actually, we're proposed to spend less than what we're bringing in. However, you'll notice that our I call it reserves. We're still waiting for the county to give us our reserve account number, but the what is essentially the reserve is we have nearly $150,000 in reserve. Now, how do you say, how did we get there in a year and a half that we have is more money in reserves than we actually are collecting? As you remember, back when we took over the park in, was it April 2018, I think it was, Silverado Homes had been paying all of those, had been collecting, or the county had been collecting, I'm sorry, the CFD funds. And then when we took it over, we only had to maintain the last 3 months because they were previously maintained by the developer. Well, we had 9 months of funds collected, and that's kind of the starting point for our large reserve carryover. Now that's a good thing. Keep in mind that part of the philosophy behind Cherry Blossom Park is, while the park is supported by the CFD, the folks who live there are still paying property taxes, and it's supported in two ways. But at some point, as the park gets older, those playgrounds and amenities that are located in the park need to be replaced. And the goal is not to have to dip into unplanned reserves at that time when we do that, but actually to be prepared for it so we have the money on hand. So when we have nearly $150,000 in the reserves, keep in mind that 10 years from now, we're probably going to need, I think, 100 to probably close to $400,000 or $500,000 if we have to replace playground structures and if again too if the public requests and the board agrees to put a restroom there someday, we have to have the funds to do that. So while it looks like we have a lot, which we do, we need a lot, and that fund is probably going to continue to grow each year. Well, our goal is always to spend less than what we bring in, so that we can keep on applying the difference into the reserve. So if that wasn't clear before, I just wanted to point that out. That's a big number. It's more than what we actually are bringing in, but that's the way it should look. And every year that I'm here, I will continue to update the board and remind you of what those funds are intended for. And once we actually get the reserve account number from the county, then we can, it'll have its own number and it'll be separate in the CFD budget. That's all I have to say.
Can you refresh my memory on how long does it take to get that reserve number?
Well, I don't want to say how long it takes to get the reserve. I would think that, we have the whole park cost, $1 million to build.
Right.
When you look at, when you pull out the playground structures, the picnic tables, the shade structures, the barbecue pits, there's probably in the vicinity of 400,000, maybe a little bit more. Now that the cost to install those, now project 10 years ahead of time with cost of living adjustments and all inflation and all that other stuff, that might cost us $700,000, maybe $800,000. So while we have it now, next year we may add a smaller amount, and the year after that we may be able to add a larger amount. We're still playing around with the formula of the funds that we put in the specific and individual accounts as to what we really need. As I mentioned to you before, I think I said it's going to take about 3 years for us to get a handle with this. Well, the last 2 years we've had a glitch in every time. This time we had the coronavirus happened, and all kinds of things happened in the last month where we had to treat the park a little differently. We're still figuring out the water. Some of the landscaping there is becoming challenging. That tall kind of grass that you see on both sides of Bing Drive when you go in. That's a challenge for us because it's either too little water or too much water, and then the stuff flattens out and lays across the sidewalk and has to become a safety hazard. So we're still trying to figure things out, how to make this thing work. It's quite of a challenge.
They're doing good. They're doing good. Okay. All right. Any further discussion?
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 590 for the 2021 fiscal year Community Facilities District 2016-01.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Resolution 590 passed. All right, number 11, payment of the bills. Terry, you've been doing a great job. I'm glad we had money to pay.
Thank you.
A lot of bills.
I just don't like those refund checks, but hey, it happened.
Yeah, those were a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy to see just the sheer volume of those, because I mean there's one whole page that is just that. Yeah. That,
I didn't like giving them.
Oh, I bet. I bet. Alan?
Yeah, I'm scrolling back up. I didn't print it out. There we go.
Oh, okay.
I didn't think I had any questions, but let me just look quickly.
You can't leave Terry untouched.
I know that. Well, that's what I'm doing.
Well, there's 3 of them you have to look at.
Well, there's a lot of them.
I know. Yeah, I think I'm good.
Still scrolling.
Are we going to do this in one motion, approve them all?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the billing reports for April 2020, May 2020, June 2020 for both the district and for Cherry Blossom Park CFD.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, any other discussion?
It's
All
actually March, April, and May.
Okay,
March-
let's,
March, April.
I'll revise my motion to March, April, and May 2020 on all 6 reports.
Oh, there it is. Oh,
I'll
yeah.
second that.
All right, any further discussion? All in favor?
I,
I,
Terry, you get a pass on this one. You're good.
All right, thanks.
All right, the next regular board meeting, be Zoom or in person. Will be July 9th, 2020 at 6:30 in the North Highlands Recreation Center. The best I could do.
You did great.
So,
Yay.
okay.
Nicely
Our
done.
first Zoom meeting was a success.